we got our deco row in, and we've got our next row of 12 by 12s going around here. A couple cuts to put in here.
Beautiful.
11, 11?
11 and 8.
11 and an 8.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Thank you.
We'll find out in a second if Tom likes it. And the verdict is almost in.
He'll tell me or throw
The jury is in. What is the verdict, sir? It is 1/4 inch bigger than all the rest. We can make it work.
I cut it with
That's
glass.
beautiful. A little juju bead's crooked, isn't it? You didn't even do that. It was like that. All right, what we're doing is we're tapping in some nails. You can see them right there on each corner of the 12 by 12s. We got 2 nails because the tiles are too heavy and they're sliding down and they're compressing our glass tiles. So we're setting them up. We're just using some drywall nails and just putting them in there temporary. When it sets up, we'll pull them back out. That looks good. Alright, so if your tiles are sliding down the wall, if you're getting too much weight, you can use a row of nails, and that'll help beef it up so you can continue to go higher with the wall tile.
And then I think what's this last one here, John? 4 and something? You might already have that one cut. I told you to make 2 before.
3/4. Yeah, I had one leaning up against one of the buckets. Not sure where it went.
Find it.
One of these
I don't know. That one's got a chip, so I don't think it's that one.
might be, it might be that one there.
This one.
Measure it up.
Yeah, but I cut 2 of them.
4 3/4.
Okay.
I think. We're looking for.
No, that's not it. Oh, that actually is, but I think this is the one that was too short.
No, it was cut twice. That's not it.
That's right.
So we need one more 4 3/4.
4.
Fly around there.
Nope.
Here you go. Let me measure the wall quick before you take it down. Don't make 2 more. Make it 11 and 2 4 3/4. This is a 4 3/4, yeah.
So 2 of them at 4 3/4.
Yeah, cut the line on one of them even, and then make another 11.
Another 11.
Yeah. And what each way?
Am I ready for another row? Ready for another row of decos?
No reckon what's going on here. What is going on here?
That's that one you should have put another nail in. Sluter couldn't take the pressure. Sluter just couldn't take it.
I got you. If that's it, then I'll be happy. That's all it is.
Just one nail, yeah, that should do her. And like I said, you use these nails carefully inserted in between the 2 levels of tile, and that'll help hold your tile up. Because once you start getting up higher and higher, you get a lot of down pressure coming down. The thin set isn't set up yet, and sometimes they'll start to slide down the wall, and the nails will stop that action. Here we go with our second row of deco tile. And I think that's really going to make it nice. That means we can take a break after this row. We're going to go eat. That is beautiful.
These are called mosaics.
Mosaic
Mosaics.
tile.
When they're this small.
Mosaics.
Mosaics.
Glass mosaics.
That's what I'm calling them anyway. 'Cause
Mosaics.
I could take these apart and make a picture of a tree or a dog by putting browns for the dog.
Here you go.
and
I'd like to see that.
I can do it. I
Could
can show you one I did.
Could you do a chameleon on the back wall here?
If we have the right colors and a big enough thingy, yes I could. I
Could
just basically spit it out on a computer, and wherever it tells me to put that color,
That's
that's
it.
where you put that color.
Very nice. Very nice.
And it comes out.
I believe you,
And
Tim.
it's very nice when you do it. But
It takes a long
it
time.
takes a long time. Exactly. That's all. It just takes a long time. But it's nice. But it is nice. Yeah.
Well, everything you do is nice, Tom. That's why you're here.
Yeah. And these mosaic tiles are actually indented. They're actually indented, so they're gonna grout in round. It's actually gonna be like up indented into our bottom, you know what I mean? Which isn't gonna hurt anything.
No, it's
And
gonna
you
look
don't- Yeah, it's gonna look good, especially when it's grouted in. Because it's actually gonna have like a round of grout,
Yeah.
high and low, to come into our two little rows.
Yeah, they're gonna look like they
Yeah.
kind of just melted into the tile wall.
Yeah, somebody's gonna say, who had the time to do that?
Who did that?
Would you look at that? They're gonna say. Somebody's gonna say that.
All right, so we're gonna finish out this row of decos here. Looks like our bucket's just about scraped clean here. We're gonna take some lunch and come back and we're gonna finish this setting here this afternoon. Tomorrow, we're gonna come in and we're going to grout the wall and the floor. I think we said that already. But we will have all the tile cut into the walls today. We just about have them all cut in now. The ones on the floor, just have a few more small ones to cut in here. We'll set them today and we'll stay off of it until tomorrow. We'll probably, if we have time, we'll probably hit our drywall up one more time today, possibly, or maybe tomorrow, depending upon what time it is when we get done here.
We're still cutting our decoing just like we did our full tile. Full, cut to the back corner. Full, cut to the corner. You know, we're doing the same thing with our deco tile. If you didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, we're putting our cuts on the wall, our 4-inch cuts in the corner, and we're starting out here at our sluter with a full tile wall. We're doing the same thing with the decos, the mosaics. We have 2 1-footers, and then we're cutting in little 4-inch pieces on the end. So we're hiding our cuts in the corners and starting with full tiles, which is the way you should do it. You shouldn't have your cut tiles out at the end of the shower. They should be in the corners.
The first place I see a mud come through my decos.
Well, if it comes through, what do? You scratch it out right away.
Yeah. The rest of that will wash off.
Wipe it with your sponge. All right, so we're going to finish up this row of deco, and we'll be back after lunch to pick up the final phase of the shower walls and the grouting of all of our cuts on our floor. We're getting ready now to start putting our cuts in on the floor. Tom is just about up to the ceiling. We got our cut guy cutting us a row of 6-inch tile to go around the top, and 1 or 2 cuts there in the corner, and we'll have our walls completely done.
Oh yeah, look at that.
And you can see we got our nice deco rows. We're all the way up to the ceiling. And I think it turned out real nice. Those mosaic decos in the middle really pulled it in with the floor. And I think they got a good looking project here. Doesn't get much more real than a cast iron porcelain tub and a tile surround. It's about as heavy duty as you can get for residential or commercial for that matter. Alright, so good morning, Tom.
Howdy, howdy.
I would say the handiwork of the last 2 days paid off. This floor and this wall looks great. So what are we going to do here this morning, Tom? Pull all of our spacers in the shower here.
Yes.
All of our spacers, all of our nails that we put in yesterday to help us set our tiles. We got a bunch of these to pull out. And then we're going to go back through and we're going to scrape any thin set that oozed out between the tiles.
Yeah.
On the wall as well as the floor.
The floor, yeah.
And we're going to grout both surfaces today, right? The shower walls and the floor.
Yeah, I liked your idea about 2 grout, 1 in the shower, 1 on the floor, and just waste it. You know, mix
Yep.
the whole thing and go.
Just burn it out.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna do the shower walls and the floor at the same time. One big bucket of grout that we're gonna share here. And we're gonna get it all grouted up here this morning. And then this afternoon, we may even begin to start to put this bathroom back together.
Game plan. Yeah.
At least that's the game plan.
Let's show them right here what we're gonna do. I had these nails in here. I'm just gonna get rid of the nails.
And we used those to keep our tile from sliding down yesterday. Because they we're on the wall, they're slipping down on top of our deco tile. So we used those to hold up the big ones above our deco row. That worked out good.
Yeah, but basically what we're gonna do, I still got a nail here. Yeah, what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull these spacers, and then in between, we're just, I mean, if it even needs it,
Yeah.
we're gonna make sure that there's no gray thin set
Sticking out.
Like I said, we do a good job putting them in, so. But I did see one or two that needed it, but right now I'm not seeing anything. If you pull your spacers out, you got a nice clean joint. Before we grout, even though we do this, like where the mud's a little heavier, you got to scrape that out.
Scratch it out. That's called scratching out your joints. And they do make a tool specially for this, but it kind of looks like a utility knife, so we've always just used our utility knife.
Yeah, be careful. Pull your spacers if it looks good, if it's ready for grout. And then, like I said, we got a bucket of water here, and we got a sponge, and we are going to go through and wash this all down too. I just don't see my hair as a sponge. Yep, after we pull the spacers and scratch them, your next mission would be to, some good warm water too.
And once you get it all scratched out, go back with a
go
nice
back and
sponge.
clean off your sluter. This here will actually wash that thin set away from the edges, not a problem.
Kind of just melts it off the day
Yeah.
after. Now, you can do this the day after, and it's fairly easy. Now, if you wait 2 or 3 days after you grout,
You don't, that you don't want to do. You
It's,
want to do
yeah.
this the day after.
the next day after, because the grout, believe it or not, or the thin set rather, that we use to stick these tiles to the wall and the floor, the next day is still like a product that could still be like almost melted off with a wet sponge. It's not as hard as a rock yet. I mean, it's set up, it's hard, but it's not completely cured yet, and it's easy to clean it the day after.
Yeah.
So make sure you do all of your pulling of your spacers and scratching of your joints the day after you set them. Don't wait a couple days.
If you did put nails in your tile,
Good morning.
I'm pulling straight towards
How are you
it.
doing?
Good.
Good.
I understand we're grouting today,
Yeah, that's what I heard.
and you're gonna have your hand in on this.
I can't wait. I'm excited.
Yeah, he's excited.
When we start scratching?
Yeah, the floor, inspect and vacuum. You can have the vacuum out. We're gonna do the same thing on the floor. John's gonna get started on the floor. We're gonna go through here, like, make sure everyone is open. Like right there's a little bit of stuff right here, but here I got some spacers in here. And then we're just gonna tweak these areas and make sure we can get grout down in between them.
Yep.
You can see the old grout, it's filled to the top right here. That's what we're talking about, prepping your floor. See how that opened that up? That one's filled to the top. So we wanna get that little grout line scratched back in here. After we do this, we're gonna vacuum and we're gonna wash it with the wet sponge. Take a final look at everything. There, I got a nice line
See
in
how
there.
he's scratching that out there? It's
Yeah.
turning back the powder.
So John, you can get started at the doorway coming in here, pulling these spacers out.
You really have to make sure that you don't have any thin set where your grout's gonna go. So,
Especially on these little ones.
yeah, so
Yeah, I'm gonna let John get started on the floor. Yeah, pull your spacers out that we had in here.
place your-
These are all set one at a time. Plus, this is a good way to see if you set them good. You're scratching them like this and they're staying in, you're ready. Right? Right in?
absolutely.
Back in here, it's all filled up, I can see. You want to have a little line there, at least a 16. But if you hit it 1, 2, 3 times, it kind of opens it up for you.
Scratch them out, and you will have some thin sets sticking out between your floor tile. Trust me. So you're going to want to go back over your whole floor.
What do you need?
No matter how long it takes,
Isn't there another one?
because you only get one crack at this. Once we get it all,
Gotcha.
and once we get the grout mixed up, and we're going through here, if there's any thin sets sticking out through, you're going to see it come peeking out through your grout, or you're not going to have a grout joint for your grout at all if it's filled with thin sets. So work your whole floor. Now these are 2x2 tiles. which is a lot more grout joints. Now,
Yeah,
you know,
a lot harder to
you
work.
can see on the wall here, we have these big
Yeah,
12 by
these are-
12s. The joints are much fatter and they're much easier to clean. A 2 by 2 floor like this is a little monster to get prepped up and ready for grout because you have so many individual grout joints. So that's why when we put it in, we were extra careful to keep cleaning out our joints as we were laying our tiles so that we didn't have too much to do today. But we went back in yesterday along the wall and put that 1.5 wide row of individual tiles in when we put our cuts in, and we have a little bit sticking out there, which is to be expected. Over here, you recall we set all these along the wall and across the marble threshold and around the doors and whatnot. So there's going to be a little bit of scratching here and there. You can see a little bit of thin set sticking out here and there. So we're going to prep the floor with our straight razor, with our utility blade, get it all ready. Once we scrape it all, we'll go back with the shop vac. You have to have a shop vac, all right? Not a regular vacuum cleaner, a shop vac, because you're going to have to go back through and suck out all of your grout joints across the entire floor, making sure you get all this loose stuff that we're scratching out. You can see it on the floor there. That gets back down in the joints, and you don't want that down inside the joints when you're grouting because it'll mix in with your grout and stain your grout. So use the shop vac, suck your floor clean, make sure you have all your thin set out. We're going to do the floor that way. We're going to do the wall, and then before we grout, we're going to wipe down the walls in the shower. You can see Tom's doing that now with a big tile sponge and a bucket of water, clean bucket of water. Make sure it's clean water. We'll wipe down the entire floor, and when we get to that point there, we'll then be ready to go ahead and bring our grout in and start putting the grout into the grout joints. Now we're going to be using what's called a rubber float. You can see right here we purchased a new one this morning. All right, it's a Home Depot item here, and you can see there it says it's a gum rubber grout float. All right, gum rubber grout float, and they make better ones, all right, and they make worse ones as well. I mean, lesser grade ones than this. This is kind of middle of the road float here, but it's got the gum rubber on the bottom. You can see it's black, but then it's got that gum rubber layer on the very bottom, which is a real soft material, and that helps you push your grout down into all those little grout joints. All right, so you're going to be using a gum rubber float, and you're going to want to purchase one of those. You can see Tom's fine-tuning this here.
Yeah, that back wall's done, ready for grout. If you want to look a head-on shot at that, but everything's nice and clean. Our joints are all opened up.
Everything's nice and clean. He's got no grout sticking out anywhere, or thin set rather. The joints are nice and clean. All right, in between each tile, you can see there's nothing sticking out. All right, we got a couple of spacers here in the back wall. Now he's going to go and prep the back wall. First thing you're going to want to do is pluck out your old spacers. They pull right out, and once you get all your spacers out, you can go back through them with your razor blade and scratch out any tough areas where the thin set might have pushed through. It looks pretty good though, Tom. You really don't have a lot of work to do here.
No, not on the shower. Just like right here between these. You can see on some of them, on these little mini ones, I just got a little bit right where they came together.
Yeah, a little bit.
Tweaking that right in here is a little bit, you know.
Yeah, I can see
right here. It's overfilled. You know, we'll check them all. Take your time, check them all. This is your finished carpentry part of your ceramic. It's the prep work, you know, pays off for the finish, just like painting.
Right.
And this is the prep. You know. It is all in the prep work too. Yep, these little ones up here around in between, scratch them out enough to get grout in there.
All right.
The rest of that will come out with water right here along the edge a little bit. Pop these spaces.
So this prep work that you do the day you're grouting is every bit as important as setting your tile.
I think it's the most important.
You know, it's what makes it look clean and crisp and not so amateurish. You know, you want to look your job to look like a pro did it. The prepping right before you grout is hugely important in your finished product. So take your time. If it takes you a half a day to prep it, then it does, you know, but you'll be so glad that you did, because when you grout, you'll have a beautiful job. But we're going to finish prepping this up. We got Jonathan down here doing the floor. Tom's in the shower taking care of this. I'm going to turn the camera off here.
I'll do the floor here so we can get ready to waste it.
I'm going to give him a hand here, so I'm going to kill the camera. When we come back, we'll be getting ready to mix our grout. We'll show you how we're going to mix the grout, and then how we're going to use our gum rubber floats to install the grout. And we'll show you the process of the grouting from start to finish. And that will complete our tile project. Okay, we're going to mix the grout. Wanted to show you how we mix the grout, what we bought here. We got a container of Grout Boost. Now I'm going to tell you, this is not Home Depot, this is Lowe's. This Grout Boost, you get one of these per 25-pound bag of grout, okay? One of those for a 25-pound bag of grout. Here is the grout, and it is a 25-pound, and this is made by Tech, all right? This is Lowe's, this is not Home Depot, all right? Now when you put this Grout Boost in there, it seals your grout against stains. So we don't mix with water.
We put a half a jar of that, and now we're gonna put a half a bag of this in.
Yeah, we're gonna mix half of it.
And we got our juice in the bottom of the bag, so we're spinning automatically.
And you want this to be like almost like a whipped cream consistency, like cake icing, almost the same as we had for our thin set. That boost now. A little bit more than half the bag, that's right.
Just a splash.
Alright, so you whip this stuff up and then you let it sit for like 10 minutes, and you hit it one more time for about a minute, and you're ready to go.
Grab a 6-inch knife so we can just scrape down the sidewall.
Now we're using our high-speed drill and our squirrel cage paddle again. Looks almost exactly like thin set.
Yeah. Give her a good minute mixing, let it sit for 2 minutes. They call that coagulating. It helps like set the color in permanently when it sits for a little bit.
You gotta let it sit for a couple minutes, then re-whip it, and then you're ready. Follow the manufacturer's instructions on the bag of grout. Some will say let it sit 2 minutes. Some will say let it sit for 5 minutes before you re-whip it. Whatever your grout says, do it. All right, so we mixed half the bag, and what we're going to do first is we're going to go in and we're going to grout the shower first. Scrape down the inside of your grout bucket, get all the dry powder down in the mix. Just like that.
You can put that bag back in the house for now.
And then we'll whip that back up then.
Wash that off.
And that ought to be good. And we'll let that sit for about 2 minutes, 2 to 4 minutes here, and then we'll whip it one more time, and we'll go up and we'll start putting it into the wall, into our grout joints with our gum rubber float that we bought this morning. You want to keep a clean bucket of water on hand when you're grouting, just like you did when you set your tile, to keep your tools clean, your hands clean, your sponge wet, so that you can work it properly as you're going across the walls in there. You definitely always want to have clean water and a tile sponge, and they actually sell those sponges right in the tile material aisles at Home
Bring that
Depot.
bucket of water over with you too, John. We'll wash out our paddle in there.
We actually like Lowe's
You dump out, yeah, a lot more.
for our tile materials, a little more than Home Depot, because they have just a little bit better of a selection, a larger selection of tile. As far as the grout goes and the thin set and the tile tools and all that, Home Depot's just as good as Lowe's, but we do like the grout and the thin set selection and the additive that they have over at Lowe's. Okay, here we go. Alright, even though we're just trying to get the grout in the grout joints, you're going to end up wiping out all of your tile with grout, because when you're going back and forth over your grout joints with the float, inevitably you're going to get grout on every square inch of the wall. So you can see what he's doing there. He's got his orange Playtex gloves on because you do not want to get this stuff in your skin. Not very good for the hands. But he is working it in with both the grout and his fingers, all right? So he's working it into the joints, left, right, up, down, sideways, 45-degree angle, every direction.
Yeah.
And on those small mosaic tiles, you see he's just using his hand to spread that in there and just rub it into those little tiny spaces between those glass tiles. You can see how skinny they are compared to the 12 by 12 grout joints.
John, you got that trowel?
Yep. They're not even
Here and start spreading it.
not even half as big.
You see what I'm doing? Smash it in, drive your little thing on the road there.
Alright, so now we got 2 grouters in the tub. 2 grouters in the tub are better than 1.
Rub it up, 2 grouters in the tub.
Alright, so there's no like major science to this. I mean, the big thing is pack your joints with the grout. Get as much grout in between the tile as you can into the grout joints by working it every way that you possibly can with your hand, if that's what you need to do, and with your rubber float. But you definitely want to make sure that your grout joints are 100% solid filled with grout.
Yeah.
And the rubber float will definitely pack it in there. You're actually pushing it between the tile, and what happens is it goes in between the tile and then back in behind the tile a little bit, which locks the grout into the grout joint. That's why you need to work it in. Don't just wipe it over one time and assume that the grout joint's totally full, all right? You have to pack it in with the rubber float. And the way that you do that is left to right, up and down, and then back on a 45, and that will grind the grout deeper and deeper into the grout joints.
We should use plastic around this tub.
It'll all wash up.
It'll all wash right off.
Alright.
And sometimes just putting it in by hand with your fingers is as good as wiping it in with the rubber float, if you don't mind doing it that way. And then we'll go back over it with the rubber float and strike it with the rubber float, yeah. But when you're grinding,
up here along these ceiling spots or whatever, you know.
right along the ceiling.
Float everywhere.
Right. All right, so no super magic formula here. Just pack your grout joints and make sure they're full. And we'll show you what we're going to do next here. But right now, all we're going to do is get them all filled with grout. Then we're going to go back, we're going to shape them, and then we're going to wipe them down when we come back here. All right, we just about have the whole thing grouted here. Coming down to the last few tiles. And if you look close here, you can see we've got grout smeared over top of every square inch, practically the entire wall here. So, like I said, don't worry about getting it on the tile. It goes on the tile and in the grout joints. Pack it as full as you can. Let it build up even, let it even stick out past the grout joint if you want. It doesn't matter. We're gonna go back with a wet sponge here in a little bit and we're gonna start to strike these joints and shape them into the shape that we want them to be in the finished product. But right now we're just making sure that we've got them filled solid, you can see, filled solid full of grout. All right? We're not worried about the shape of them right now. Now we got that metal sluter edge we put on here. And you can see Tom's packing the grout between the metal and the tile, any place there's a gap. Treating the sluter just like the edge of another tile. You want to make sure that you pack that in there solid between the metal and the tile. Alright, just like you would a joint between your sluter, your metal edge, and the tile. Pack it full of grout as well. Where the tub meets the tile, on the bottom, pack it just like a grout joint. Alright, pack it, run your finger along there if you have to, and just fill it full. And we're going to go back, we'll also caulk that as well, but we're gonna fill it just like a grout joint. And up at the ceiling, it's up to you whether or not you want to pack that with grout. We normally go back with color matching caulking, silicone caulking. The color of this grout that we're using today is called DeLorean Gray. DeLorean Gray, and they do make a DeLorean Gray silicone caulking which we can put between the ceiling and the top of the tile wall, which is a lot easier because you can see it's very easy to get it all over your ceiling paint, which can be a pain to get off. So if you want to just caulk between the top of your tile and the ceiling and your shower walls, then I recommend doing that because it's much easier to do and it's a lot less messy.
Get rid of
Alright, now what we got all over the porcelain tub wipes right off very easily with water. So when we wipe down the walls, we'll be wiping down the cast iron porcelain tub as well at the same time. And we'll just wash that right down the drain. Now what we got left in our bucket we're going to throw on the floor, and we're going to grout right into our floor so we don't waste any of it. And we're just going to grind it into our floor grout joints and use it up. Our bucket's empty now.
Oh, this makes cleanup so easy.
Alright, so you know grouting is not rocket science. Just fill the joints, overfill them if you have to. Don't worry about shaping them or anything right now, just make sure that they're all filled solid. When we come back, I'm going to show you how we're going to wipe down and shape some of these joints. Tom's now beginning to wipe down the tile shower with a wet sponge.
It's like barely wet, damp, and even though it collects the grout, leave it collect the grout. Because all I'm doing right now is I'm moving the grout around and making the lines, striking the lines as I'm moving all the grout around.
Making them nice and smooth at the intersections.
Yeah,
wiping out.
smooth in between, wiping out the little extras. That's all just collecting on my sponge and then filling in where it needs it somewhere else. Alright. Hitting the splitter one time.
I guess you can almost see you're kind of just like melting the grout.
Melting the grout right into that joint without rubbing it out.
Yeah, you don't want to dig it out. Right now the grout is still as wet as it was when we pulled it out of the bucket. What we're doing right now is we're wiping a little bit of the extra heavy grout out of the joints and off the face of the tile at the same time. We're kind of redistributing the low areas in the joints with the stuff that was a little bit too heavy in the joints. All right, we're shaping them to the shape that we like.
Yeah.
And actually the shape that we leave it at right now is going to be the final shape of these joints. So you want to make sure that you like what you see now, because once we're done doing this here, we're going to get off of this for a while. I'm probably not going to come back for about 45 minutes or so to start wiping it down for the final time. So make sure that you like what you're leaving. And you can see all these little tiny glass tiles. They're little tiny grout joints, all right? They're all filled now. I'll just wipe off some of these tiles here with my finger. You can see that's just haze on those, but all the little joints are all filled with grout. All right, jump up to a big grout joint here.
And weird, did you tell them we're using a sanded grout?
And that's all filled as well. And it's nicely shaped, all right? It's kind of in a little bit from the face of the tile. The face of the tile, the grout joint kind of goes in just a little bit, but we didn't dig too much out. We just shaped the joint. We made the joints nice and smooth everywhere they intersect. We just wiped them out, made them nice and smooth. Up here where 4 tiles intersect, all right, we just kind of wiped it out and we shaped our joints. All right, we're just shaping our joints. This isn't the finished product. You can still see that's a little rough right there. When we go over the next time with the sponge, we'll smooth them out even more. But right now we're just taking out the overkill and whatever joints had too much in them and redistributing that same grout with the sponge into areas that might have been a little bit light on the grout. We're also wiping the haze off the front of the tile and getting any big chunks of tile off the face of the tiles at the same time. All right, but we're not concerned right now with cleaning the tile or making them shiny or anything like that. That's going to be 2 wipings down the road here. All right, right now, all we're doing is striking our joints and shaping our joints.
Let's see, the back wall is done there, Ed.
Yeah, the back wall looks good. The joints all look struck nice. All of our little glass tiles are filled solid all the way across. Into the corner looks good. Down the inside corners look filled. Everything's filled solid, Tom, and everything looks shaped up real nice.
And I'm halfway down these walls, right? Yep. Look at the bottom half now. We got more water coming, and I'll show you why here in 10 seconds.
We used up that extra grout down here on the floor. We just emptied our bucket into this corner right by the tub here and got as far as we could with what was left, so that we didn't waste it, because we have a pretty good amount of floor left to do with a little bit less than a half a bag of grout, but I think we're going to be okay, but it's going to be close. As you can see, right down against the tub there, we got a nice grout joint right above the porcelain tub. And we treat that space just like any other grout joint. Now, as you recall, we did not set the tile on top of the porcelain tub. We kept it up on the nail heads of some drywall nails that we put in there so that we could have a joint underneath of our first row of tile that's right above the tub surface, because we don't want to be sitting our tile right on the porcelain, because then you can't pack any grout in there and you run the risk of getting a leak around your tub. So you want to keep your tile, if you're doing it this way, if you're doing a tub surround, all right, and you've already set your tub base, keep your wall tile a good 1/4 of an inch up above the rim of the tub. All right, 1/4 of an inch. So you want to have a 1/4 inch of grout between the bottom of your tile and the tub deck. And we do that because we can pack it with grout and form a watertight seal. If we sat the tile right on the tub, we wouldn't be able to get any grout in there and we would run the risk of a leak. Same thing to the floor now that we grouted. We wiped it over and we smoothed off our grout joints. We shaped them. All right, these are the little 2x2 tiles on the floor. Right up against the tub edge there, we had that joint along the edge of the tub. We struck that. All right, and we're just doing the exact same thing we did to the shower walls on the floor right now.
Yeah, we're almost striking it with a grout sponge.
Yeah.
You know, we're not washing it yet. Now is when we're gonna get into the, might let it dry up 5 minutes.
Yeah, let it go a couple more minutes. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna let it set for about 5-10 minutes. Okay, and then we're gonna come back in with a fresh bucket of water, which just came in, and a clean sponge. We're gonna go back into the shower, and we are gonna start to wipe the majority of the haze off the surface of the tile before that dries on there too good. You don't want to really mess with your grout joints too much, but you definitely want to get the surface of the tile wiped down one good time before you let it set up for an hour. All right, so we're gonna get the majority of the haze off the surface of the tile with a clean bucket of water in about 5 minutes. We're also wiping down the entire tub surface.
Yeah, while we're waiting 5 minutes, I'll clean my tub.
And we're just
I'll
gonna
show you how nice it comes out of here.
It comes right off the tub. It doesn't stick to the tub. Really, nothing sticks to this porcelain. It wipes right off. So we'll clean up our tub a little bit, and we'll just pick up the excess and we'll wash the rest of it down the drain. Alright, so we'll clean up the rest of the tub, let this set up for about another 10 minutes, and then we'll show you how we're going to wipe her down for the first time and try to get the majority of the haze off the tile surface when we come back.
Okay, I cleaned out my tub a little bit. This has been setting long enough. Right now is the time when you can go out and get this grout off all your woodwork. It washes right off right now.
Comes off your wall and your paint real easy.
Yeah, kind of, sort of, yeah. And the trick to it is rub it one time and stop.
Yeah, don't keep rubbing on it. Just cross one time and then wring out your sponge and then cross once again.
And I'll show you, I'm gonna do the same thing up here. I'm gonna just go like this one time that direction, flip my sponge one time, and that's it. I'm gonna leave it. And that's, oh well. Sponge it, we got paper towels for that. But that's,
Wipe it once,
yeah, I'm gonna wipe it once, flip my sponge,
wipe it again.
and say it's done.
And that's it. I mean, when we get it to that stage there, we're not touching it again for a couple hours.
And I'm using a very dry sponge when I'm doing this too. Wiped it once on that side, flip my sponge in the same area, and then stop it.
And this also
We're just gonna
keeps...
continue that. We're just gonna continue this. Just the whole way down through the wall till we're done.
Now this will keep you from wringing the color out of your grout too. If you go in with a real sloppy wet sponge and start rubbing on your grout joints this early in the game, and we just grouted 15 minutes ago, If you go in there with a real wet sponge and wipe it all off, you're liable to pull the color out of your grout, which really sucks. You'll lighten the color that you intended the finish to be, about 2 or 3 shades, and you'll want to know why the color grout doesn't match what you bought. Well, the reason is the water on the sponge pulls the color out of the grout, because grout is just Portland cement and sand and dye, and you'll pull the dye right out of the sand and the Portland cement, and you'll lessen the color. All right, you'll come down a couple shades, which you don't want to do, obviously. So do what Tom's doing. Bring it out real good. You'll see he's squeezing every ounce of water out of that. Hit it one side, hit it one side, and then flip your sponge and hit it one more time, and then go right back to the bucket again. And that's it. You're not going to go back and hit that again then for a good hour or 2.
Yeah. That's it, that's right.
Hit it once, flip your sponge, rinse it out. Alright? And we're not really pushing on our grout joints at all when we're doing this. We're just going right over nice and light. And that's it. That back wall's done now. Now how long will it be, Tom, till we go back and wipe that down for the final time?
Everything that's left on there is just gonna be a haze, and that, we can either wipe it off at the end of the day, or we can let it dry and knock it off with a dry towel. It'll even almost come off with a dry towel after this, but I'd give it an hour anyway from this stage of the game, from that stage, let it sit an hour.
So that wall's done.
Yeah, if you can, like here where it's a little heavy, right now's the time. I'm just gonna go in there and just restrike. I'm examining it one more time.
Yeah, because this is what it's going to look like when it's done now.
Yeah, but I'm not worried about that haze. I'm just getting out if I see anything major. The haze will come out later, especially if I'm glass top. I like it. I'm going to leave it at that.
It looks good.
You want to do the same thing with the front wall. I'm doing the front walls and the side walls first because I like to work it into this sluter and get the stuff off my ceiling for paint wise right away.
Yeah, if you bump your ceiling, get it off your ceiling so you don't have dried up grout in your ceiling, because it's just like having dried up concrete on the ceiling. It really, grout is concrete with dye in it. So if you get it on your walls or your ceiling, get that off when you do your first wipe down, because it comes right off right now. Tomorrow, later today, it's not going to come off.
Yeah.
Right now you can wash that color right off your walls. See, it just cleans right up right now. But in about an hour, it'll be concrete and it won't come off anymore.
I just got a brand new sponge, just ring it out. If I go one direction, I can get that stuff off of there. But you can't turn your sponge and wipe it again, because then all you do is put it right back on.
Yeah, one wipe, one direction, take it back to the
rinse
bucket,
it, yeah.
rinse it out. That's why you need clean water.
Okay, we're gonna hit this top up. I usually just work like a 2 towel area at a time. One wipe, done. So I'll do those 3 tiles, 3 half the tiles at a time, the whole way down. Same thing here where I splash water on the floor. I want to get that up right away. Oops. Okay.
So this grout's going to dry a medium gray. So DeLorean gray is what they call it. Wipe it, flip your sponge, wipe it again, get off of it, rinse out your sponge. And that way you're not just rubbing the haze all over the place, you're actually taking it off. You just go once, flip, once again, clean. Rinse out your sponge. Yeah, now if we didn't want to, we can wait until tomorrow to go back and wipe the rest of the haze off this tile.
Yeah, and even got a haze remover, yeah.
But we'll probably come back one more time at the end of the day and wipe it down one more time. Yeah, they do make what's called haze remover. That's what it's called, haze remover. They sell that in the tile aisle. You can buy that and you can come back day 2 and just use the haze remover to take the rest of the haze off, and it'll clean your tiles real nice. But it's cheaper just to use clean water and to do it the same day, a couple hours later.
He could have been handing sponges for you that day.
All right, so I'm going to give Tom a hand here and get some more sponges going here. We're going to wipe this down and we're going to go down and mix up some more grout. When we come back up, we're going to show you how we're going to grout this floor. It's pretty much going to be a repeat of what we just did on the wall, but we'll give you some action shots of that too. And that'll get grouted the same, it'll get struck the same, and it will get cleaned the same, exactly the same as we did with the wall. Because tile is tile is tile, whether it's on the floor or it's on the wall. Actually, here comes John right now with clean water. Boy, could he use that. You can take that bucket out of there, just swap them buckets. And do we have another sponge out there that's halfway clean? Can we get two sponges going here?
I think it might be downstairs, the other one.
All right, grab one more sponge and bring it right back up.
All right.
I think them glass tile look good, Tom. They grow out nice. I thought, you know, with those small grout joints, we might need unsanded grout, but I guess they're big enough. It's going in. Yep, now if you see any areas when you're doing this wipe down that are a little heavy, like maybe along our glass tile there's a little heavy, we're still doing a little bit of shaping if we have to. And if you see something you don't like, shape it out better. If you see something that's a little too light, you can always grab another handful of grout and you can still rub it back into the joints and re-grout what you already grouted if you don't like it. If it's a little bit light, or if you notice a joint that maybe has a hole in it where you didn't get enough grout in it, you can go back in and re-grout it anytime you want. But make sure you refill it, because you don't want any areas that do not have grout, because that's an entrance in a shower for water to get in behind your wall. So make sure you have all your grout joints 100% filled. Alright, so we're not going to beat this horse to death anymore. You pretty much see what we're doing here with this, with the sponge here. This is really, I mean, it's not the final wipe down, but this is, yeah, we're just about done. At this point here, what you see in there right now on what Tom has wiped, that's it. That's your finished product. It's not going to change now. So we're just going to keep on wiping her down. We got one more wall to do here, and then we're going to jump on the floor when we come back. The top of the shower walls, you can see right up there where the drywall meets the top of the tile, there's a gap up there. So what we're doing is we've bought caulking that matches our grout. Alright, sanded ceramic tile caulking, number 19 pewter. You can see it coming out of the end there. It's the exact same color as the grout that we used in the shower and the floor. So we're going around the top. You can see I've already hit it up along the ceiling there, and any place there was a gap, we're filling it in with this pewter caulking. And I'd rather caulk to the ceiling than try to grout to the ceiling, because it's much easier to clean up than trying to caulk up to the ceiling or grout to the ceiling. Grouting to the ceiling's messy, and you get it all over the place. So it's just as easy, actually easier, to buy the color-coded caulking and get the exact same color as what came out of the grout bag, and just go along the top and caulk your tile to the ceiling. And any other place that we may have missed, maybe you know, there's a couple little spots down here along the door buck there. You can see a little hole right there in the corner on the inside of the closet. We'll go ahead and fill that with the caulking. Any place that we might have come up a little short, anywhere on the floor with the grout, we can use our sanded ceramic tile caulking and take care of that. Great stuff. So when you buy your grout, pick up a tube. You won't use the whole tube, I promise you. Just grab one matching tube of the color-coded caulking to go with your grout, and finish off your grout job with the caulking. Turns out beautiful. So we're just about out of here. We got about another hour or so of touch-up, caulking, wiping down the floor. We actually did use a solution of light muriatic acid in our water. We bought it at Home Depot, and we washed down our walls in our shower. You can see how shiny all of our little deco tiles are going around there. The haze was all knocked off. It's actually a dehazer, and it's formulated with some acid in the mixture to clean your tile really nice, and also your grout joints. You normally should wait 48 hours till you do that. So we cleaned our floor, our shower walls with that, and then anything that we don't hit with the dehazer, we'll go back with some denatured alcohol, which we bought at Home Depot as well. And the denatured alcohol will clean anything that we missed with the muriatic acid off. Works really nice too on the porcelain tub to get any of the grout off the porcelain tub. Works good on fiberglass as well.